And so my question is, did you want an introduction at the beginning? This is a dive. What do we call so what we're going to call this is a part of what we should decide ahead of it. And so that I know how to introduce it. And then I pass it off to you and you take it from there. And I'll jump in with any questions. Harry will jump in with any questions at the appropriate time. So what you're saying is you want to be able to do your download with the slides. And then we do a question and answer. Is that right?
Okay. So what we do is pre-presentation for moderate rehearsal. I have my timers here. So I see here after 7 or 8 minutes, I'm done. And then I always put this on here so that I know I can exceed maybe 3, 4, or 5 minutes. So I'm very aware of the time. I would appreciate if you give me exactly 10 minutes before interrupting. Otherwise, it's so much cutting later. But we can go with all the questions and clarification in the next step. And then in maybe a possible later further step into fumbling and questioning and building on future holistic craziness.
And Heiner, did you want us to stop it after 10 minutes and create a different segment? Or did you want that to be the same segment when we ask questions?
I think we can just keep the recording going.
Okay.
Because I don't know if we are going to use it anyway. But it would be nice to have a first test.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. Now I feel ready, or at least closer to ready. Harry.
Just checking. Okay. I'll share my screen and I'll just follow Heiner's indications, next slide or this slide or that number. So I'll go down there and then I'll just note for myself and I keep the questions for after the 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, is that okay?
Perfect. Show me the slide so I can see if it's like I like it. So we make the quickie with the first again. And you see on my side, it is really cutting with the question marks. Go 2 slides down to the crisis.
This one?
Well, I think the monitor should be a little bit smaller. Otherwise, you cannot see the last question mark. Again, a little smaller. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So you want to start here or you want to start here?
We make a very quickie on the first slide.
And then to the 5th?
I'm just running very fast through the first 10 slides.
Okay.
Does it have a title?
That is, no, I talk about what our topic is.
Okay.
What does wholeness, GCC, and what I'm doing, what is it all about and how it can maybe serve.
And what is the name of our, this is a practice session for?
A training session, a rehearsal or whatever.
Of what?
Of what I do on Sunday and what I will be presenting to the world around sustainability in the second slide.
And is this Heiner in the hot seat? Are we calling this a name? Do you have a name for what you have put forward?
I think it's a deep dive into wholeness and GCC and Heiner.
Okay, great. Okay. So let's, if Harry, you can de-share your screen, I'll do the intro and then you'll share your screen. Does that work? Okay. So deep breath all together. Thank you. I'm stoked we're doing this. And 3, 2. I'm Tammy Lee Meyer, and I'm with Heiner Banking and Harry van der Velde, and we're doing a deep dive into Heiner Banking's work as a rehearsal for his presentation over the next weeks. And over to you, Heiner.
Hello, I'm roaming from Berlin, and I want to share you what I can show on the first slide, that we have a real big question in modern society with cyberculture, modern media, globalization, and all this. And when fumbling about what is my concern or what is GCC about, I came to a very early question we did with the International Society of System Sciences, where we did a whole year on what is wholeness. And the starting question was, what does wholeness mean to me and how is it best imparted? And I felt this also applies to GCC, to ecology, to even my roaming across the scales. And the next shows how I prepare it for a visionaries meeting in Madrid. And we go one to the crisis, the number 3 now. You see, it remembered me in what I was always struggling with Harry. It is, what we have here? Is it a word? Is it an image? Is it a symbol? Is it a boundary? Is it a metaphor? And how can we get the pieces of the puzzle together? So you see, this was my fumblings with what kind of, how to put it together as a show, as a bomb, as a prison, or the final flood, as Pierre Levy wrote about cyberculture. So you see, I'm since 18 years here in this matter. Next slide shows that, because I feel I should show where I'm from. Can you go to the next slide 4, please, Harry? No? Yes, that I've been an environmental guy, a planning guy, a computer graphics guy, and I had the largest computers of the world doing the most fantastic multi-dimensional color, immersive, artificial, virtual, whatever scenes in science and technology, defense and aerospace or whatever. So I'm coming from this 22 years creativity and cognition and wonder what we can do it now. Next. So our struggle was always maps and models, and that is my profession. I'm a map and model maker. And we did not only the first geochemical maps, but also the first maps for water or for radioactivity. We were doing maps directly after Chernobyl. So a big exercise, 1.5 year work, and we were thrown out because the legend was not agreed by color. So you see, maps and models and presentation have very, very strict rules. I only wanted to give you this in mind. When I talk about a map or a model, I talk about a scale model. I'm talking about an immersive model, like architects and planners are about. Next. So you see, these are examples that you can do geostatistics in filing oil and gas and gold. It's called cridging, and it's been done in many environments. Next. So my real work then in the 80s was geomapping, ecologic dynamics. We created flying magnifying glass with aerospace, with reconnaissance cameras, with the International Space Year in '91, to really bring the data together from the local to the global, because this is a big problem that sustainability is only understood on the micro and meso scale, but for the global issues, there is not really an answer to sustainability, but that's what I discuss in detail in Madrid. So I'm this mapper on ecological dynamics and make it concrete and using virtual reality and augmented reality to really help us to step out of the box, look with the macro eye. And I always tell this example from deep sea ocean research, that when we look into the animal kingdom, we can see that animals have an eye to look toward the sun and the waterfront to see if there is an enemy like a predator. And they have small eyes looking for getting some food. And other animals do it through senses, through infrared, through feeling. And my concern in what I'm presenting here, and I want to develop with many people further in the future, is to bring senses and intelligences across scales and cultures and belief systems and science systems together. Next, because my 8 minutes are already gone and I have only 2 left. You see on the left side, it showed what the Club of Rome was about in Limits to Growth. And it showed that we have different focus. All the people are in the lower left quadrant, but the Club of Rome work in the 60s and 70s was about long view, big picture. And our concern is to really bridge the scales, as we have done with Paul Weiss, looking from the cell to the organ, to the human, to the society, to humanity. Next, because time is running out, I want to really make sure in the end that when I show line graphs, I don't mean a line as a border. So imagine astronomical quadrants or geographic coordinates. You cannot bang your head into Greenwich Zero. Next. So I've been working with such presentation. Next. And next. Next. And have been bringing it all together into such a construction of what I call a Rubik's Cube of ecology, to bring disciplines, magnitudes, and time scales together, and have been building this conceptual, artificial, virtual space as a 3-dimensional, immersive, space-cape, deep order in connection to the geographic coordinates and to the semantic coordinates of how we express ourselves with symbols, with any kinds of sign systems, and to integrate that all into a cognitive panorama. It is drawn, but I want you to stretch your imagination, and let's do it together, because my time is up and we can do a longer session another time. But this was only to give you an idea. I'm very difficult, and I'm having problems with words and meanings and models and even sketches from visualizers. And I think we have to do it together. We have to really explore and stretch our imagination on what virtual reality and augmented realities mean. And there have been done a few exercises which need to be expanded and elaborated, because not only the time is running out, but the challenges of, or the grand challenges of the environment, of survival of humanity, all linked together. Can we stretch our horizon of our awareness? And maybe the last word, I always say, the human mind is already doing this. We have the big picture in mind, and our attention is only and always focusing on a certain aspect. And what we need, like as a T intelligence, as a specialist and a generalist, standardization, harmonization, bring together and maybe be schizophrene, but I think we have to come to other ways of thinking and representation and communication. I would like to leave it with that for the moment. There are many, many more slides for many, many more years and many, many more groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Heiner. Yes, it's very striking how much work you have done over the years, and it's the big nut to crack. How do we actually work together to be able to think within, as you say, the multimodal universe? And it's a puzzle of translation, I think.
And transformation and transcendence.
Yes. So one of the questions I have is what is it that you want to be doing to enact this work?
Do what I do now. Bring my seeds, they're all for free. Interact, connect, catalyze, but I'm a ferment, so I'm not exploding like a catalyst. And this is what I do since 20, 30 and more years. And I do it in various realms with the civil society around the UN in various groups, and in the local and in the educational and vocational training and whatever. Just be a little fermenter and helper. So my function in various associations and whatever groups is that of an elder or as an advisor, advisory board or whatever we call it. I've been a founder of things, and I like to get it going and make sure it is running well. And sometimes projects even fail, but most youth groups, media groups, whatever where I'm in, they flourish. And I'm very happy when I'm having a captain. I'm just a pilot.
Can I, Tammy? I would like to get back what news I got out of your presentation, because I'm trying to follow and understand you quite a while, Heiner, and you mostly for my mind, you're bringing too much information at once for me to kind of grasp it. And so then I think, okay, and now I'm very happy with the kind of the historical approach you took. This is what I did, and then I can see I get a sense of what you have been trying, and I want to give it back, and I want to have your feedback for how much of it I got. And I can understand you've been working as a map and a model maker, and you've been a graphical pioneer way ahead of the time, because this was very advanced work in those days. What you see, I can recognize it because it was very simplistic that day. And what I understand that you, especially with the geo mapping and all that, you were able to make stuff visible that's not visible for us. You could visualize the meso and the macro scale, which was basically unseen until that moment. And then you say, okay, like animals have other senses, we should also kind of develop other senses. And these days we have augmented possibilities with sensors and other kind of stuff. So we can basically stretch our insights as a humanity to see the world from a different perspective, so we can see what needs to be done. So we get a broader vision, a deeper sense of what needs to happen. And I think, and that's what I understand. And I think what I hope to be doing also is to convey this insight or this awareness to a broader public. But that's maybe that you didn't say that. I don't know who needs to hear this from you. But with that, that's what I got from it.
Bravo! You're the synthesizer.
Thank you. Well, I think that's what you need, because when you talk to me, I feel like you're throwing encyclopedia at me. It's difficult for me.
You're lucky that you're not here.
Yes, I know now why you want me to come to Berlin. It's just very dangerous. I should prepare and be well insured.
I have always this to make sure that we are aware of time we steal. And Gregory Bateson said, we have not developed antenna for time.
No.
Gregory Bateson, the husband of Margaret Mead, was such an extraordinary general thinker. And to really make solid time dimensions, scale dimensions, and really involve areas and tensors and vectors into multidimensional space, this is what the brain is doing in 17 dimensions, always. And we are stuck here with 2D. The young people tell us, you are living in flat world,
Yes.
gray world.
Yes, okay. But basically your message is so multidimensional that we kind of have to dumb it down to more simple, I think. And that's why basically what I'm trying to get here is, okay, what I learned, because I've been in advertising, selling toothpaste or hair stuff to the stupid. Okay, so then I learned to simplify into the very simple thing. This, you got a problem, I got a solution, you got to do this and do it now. The kind of that thing. And if I could simplify your message to an advertisement like that, what would it be? And who is the target audience? Who are you trying to reach everybody, or just the elite that's able to understand you, the Batesons of this world? So who are we aiming at with your message? That's what I would like. That would help me to know that. That's my filter. Then I can augment my filter or simplify it. Is it people can grok this, or have to or like that?
Again, your question is right to the point.
Thanks.
We always learned to whom is it addressed.
So?
Right?
Yes.
So the real challenge is to find out how to make it simple, but not simpler than simple. Albert Einstein said,
yes,
these are the oversimplification, which are under-complex, leading to overclaims and all the problems we have in the world with the egos and the male and the whatever hormones. So your question is so important, and I've been struggling with it since long time. If it's a general capability, like you can see, you can model as a human. Humans are model-making animals. We include the future, we do it immersive, we do it matching patterns and fields and overlapping them. Then it's a basic capacity and skill of every human. It is not a product to sell. You see, I've been also in marketing and strategy and especially investment goods. It is not something to sell on the market. The same like with my Magic Roundtable. You cannot take basic capacities of humans, like to share and encourage and gift, and make a trademark on it and parcel it into products. So I think not only the seeing and other skills of integrating, it is just the basic functions we humans have to expand to address the global challenges of humanity, the grand challenges, we said in Washington. But nobody is in charge. And so all these basic tools humanity needs, they always ask you when you are on higher levels, they say, do you have a mandate? Who gave you the order to do this? That we have to come to the point that we say, this is our field. We are responsible for the mess we have created in our generations before.
Heiner,
So
who is
the
the
question of who says this is my field is very central. And when all these big thinkers on ethics, humanity, culture assembled in Asilomar, this big professor colleague from Stanford came in and said, oh, you want to save the world and make peace and do something for women and children and all this? Then he shook his hand and ran out. We cannot confront this negligence anymore, having our blinders or just our worm's eye, but we have to be specialists and generalists at the same time and do it in rotation, not having one protagonist or one hero.
So what is your answer in one simple sentence?
It's a basic tool.
No, but who is the audience?
It depends for what you use it.
And what do you want to use it for?
Making the world a better place. And
the simplest application, please.
Education.
Education. And who is this?
And I'm working in governance on such fields.
Okay, education, like kindergarten or up?
Well, we do a lot in the field of vocational training, because it is very important to bring this disciplinary Babel together and find interfaces between the disciplines and the skills and the capacities and competences.
So my sense is that there is a discrete group of people that you're looking to reach, Heiner, and I just want to test that. I think it's people who are already in the area of social ecological change in some way, that are already somewhat engaged and can really grasp what it is that you're talking about. So I think that it's the change agent sector of people that you could choose as being your first, like if you're thinking of an audience in your delivery, that it be people that are somewhat in the know. Thoughts?
Well, you're fully right, Tammy. Definitely, we have to go to the movers and shakers. But we should not forget, when we think about education, that it is inter and transdisciplinary, and there you have to start in kindergarten and very early grammar school, because our academic system of over-specialization and scientific sectarianism, someone wrote in from Yasa, Nathan Kafritz was it, that our teaching is splittering, not lumping. So it's very much basic education of science and culture, or and fine arts.
Okay, this is an iteration, and we're kind of failing forward here. So my suggestion would be that we start with in mind with the enlightened change agents and bring them the simplest kindergarten version of the story you want to bring. So that would force you to kind of skip all the details that are kind of our noise over signal.
Yes.
Okay.
We're struggling with that.
Yes.
There are some elders I'm working with, and I think it's very important to do a two-tied macro and micro approach at the same time.
I didn't quite catch that.
We have two legs.
Yeah, but I can only make one step at a time, or you are jumping.
No, you're right. We do to the smart policy strategist, synthesist, integrators of the integrators, what Margaret Mead requested.
Yes. Now, I'm talking not to Margaret, but I'm talking to Heiner. And what's the first step we can do for you? I think what I missed in your 10 minutes was a title. And basically a title of what is basically what the people has to keep in their mind where they stopped. What should people take out of your presentation of like 230 something slides or whatever?
Well, you see, I'm gearing this all up to this presentation of 30 visionaries of sustainability. What is sustainability? Where it failed? Why doesn't it include the global issues? And why is it still each and every one in his pigeonhole making all this data and terminology fights? So this presentation is a big conference and a book launch. And there I'm focusing on people in construction, planning, politics, media and ministries around environment, development, what have you.
Okay, and if your presentation would be a great success, what would happen?
Well, we have a working group to follow up on that, but I will be a pain in the ass, I hope.
You want to be a pain in the ass?
Yes,
okay. Then it's way too clear. You should make it more vague and ambiguous. And add more slides too. And start at the end.
No. The system, the question is, what is sustainability? Like we answered, what could be wholeness? And it came to 200 articles. No, it is how can we, with children working on it, how can we best impart it to others and become aware that we need to be flexible in our perspectives, in our presentations, in our use of presentation.
Stop, you said it.
Good.
How can we be aware that we have to become flexible? That's what I get. Is that so important to you?
Oh yes, we are all stuck in our sweet isolation.
Okay.
And this communication and transcendence, what we have in the GCC, that's why I mentioned GCC 2. It is also such an overarching star-high goal, attracting a lot of people who finally want to see something like meat and concrete.
So how did you feel about that, Heiner? How did you feel about being in it, the presentation? How did it feel to you?
Well, it was my first try to get a few slides together. Yesterday, I lost my purse when I was in the Greek restaurant. And all my plastic money, all my IDs, everything was gone. So I again lost half a day overnight. And so I was not really ready to have the right slides. What I've been sharing with Harry is about 80 slides, but I can send him 800, no problem. I think it is a good start for Sunday that I am in 48 hours ready to really more polished to a group which maybe not 3 people, like 10. Some people want to come on Sunday night. So we do the Sunday night fever. Saturday night fever with Travolta is over.
Could you do it in 8 slides?
8 or 9. I think that's 8 is good for printing. Then you can give it as a handout very easily.
Sorry, I lost my train.
So I need some visualizations, Harry.
What do you want to see?
Well, maybe the fish with the many eyes, looking up and looking down and sensing and feeling and whatever, to really be, as humans, multimodal. No, I was thinking about not using, maybe not at all my slides, but maybe some more integrative stuff from a visualizer like you, which is more to the point, because visualizing, I told Tammy before you came, a picture has for me at least 10,000 words. So the concept of many, like the Chinese have, not we say a picture has 1,000 words, is so important that we are not getting overwhelmed, but taking it as a challenge, because being perplexed and die is not enough. We have to look for peace and harmony.
So, Heiner, are you going to have a chance to review this before Sunday? Would you find it useful to review today's session?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll send you the link on Google Drive.
Okay.
So you can watch it. And for my perspective, I think that a couple of things that what I liked is that you felt quite present in it, But what was difficult towards the end was when you were talking about the timing and wanting to make sure you stayed in your timing. You don't need to say any of that. It takes away from the presentation. And I would say just take the time that it takes. And don't rush at the end, because the key thing is that you've got the people assembled and you want to land in the present moment with the information. Sure. And if it takes an extra few minutes, awesome. We're all there to do that and be that with you. So, or be that and do that with you. So, yeah, I would just say to take your time and really breathe. If you're starting to feel a sense of, I got to get ahead, take a deep breath, because it's not just, and this is something that's just coming to me right now, it's not just that there's a lot of information. As a listener, I need time to be able to kind of take it in and breathe myself. So if you're really following your breath and being with that present moment, that gives me time to be with my breath and not feel overwhelmed, because it's a lot of information, but you can bring it and ground it if you just breathe through that presence process while you're sharing. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. You see, this is the central question of formats. What I was saying was this 10 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes, this is the time I have in Madrid. And I promised you to be short. And I said I can do it in 3 or 5 minutes, but you are perfectly right. You should do it deeply breathing in and out, like I just said in the session before, synthesis and analysis coming together. And that sometimes it needs more time and not simpler as simple. It doesn't work. And so if I would be dancing in front of an audience, then for sure I know which slides I have. In my case, I didn't know what to show and where to stop, but I looked at my timer. So your argument is well set, well put.
And is there any other feedback that you can think of that in terms of how it felt, in terms of how it presented, and kind of working with Harry with the slide share?
I think we did a great thing today.
I think so too, yeah. Harry, any other kind of meta thoughts or feedback?
Well, if you really want a 10 minutes slide share, then I would suggest you make a deck with just those 10 slides.
Sure.
And then you can just, if you want, for instance, me to present them again, then you just put up your hands and I'll just notice you the stamp moving with your hand and hold it down. You just put up your hands and then give you the next slide, and then it's basically monkey proof.
Sure. Next time I would even do my slides myself, because then in a question period, which can be half an hour or so, I need to delve into slide 15 and then slide 3.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good.
It was horrible. I was so mad that my new installation on Linux is not able to do the Zoom slideshare feature. But we are done. It was a great night. So we are going to dance now?
Say what?
We are going to dance now?
Sure.
Or you go into my plasma. Yeah. We need it like this.
Exactly. It is. We just haven't figured out that internal technology that makes it all happen.
Okay, we do with brain painting and brain dancing with a friend of ours who has ALS. She can only dance with her eyes. She cannot move any muscle. She cannot breathe. We do this brain works, and it's an exhibition where the finissage is in 2 days. So you see, I'm very busy on trying to integrate even with people from neurosciences and everywhere. I think it would be awesome you come to Berlin one day And definitely my things on Sunday, next Sunday and the day after will be starting at 9:45. So all audio set is ready, and we have a tough moderator who is throwing everybody out who is not known or who is not on the list because the doors are closed. No, I think it will be a test also in conversation experiments, what we are doing here, to be more aware of the time we gift and steal. By ego talking, we steal time from others.
Yeah.
That is often forgotten. Harry, you're working too much.
I love my work. I'm just finishing this drawing for you.
I know, that's why I'm saying so. So I think we might call it a day, and maybe you even can manage on Sunday.
I'm going to do my best to be there. I have to leave class a couple hours early is the only thing.
I will tell the Calfactor duck to let you in, even as a latecomer. Or you go backstage.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, that feels great.
So
Thank you.
Take my glasses on, and I wave bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you,
Sense
Heiner.
integration.
Thank you, Harry.
Sense integration. Bye.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.